Yeah, I mean, I suppose with with a very young team and a lot of new faces in our squad, consistency would be one of the things that we would try and work towards. Experience and consistency probably comes hand in hand. And when we took one big step forward in the first test, we took one, maybe two back in this test match just with not being consistent. Obviously, in the subcontinent, it's really important what happens in the first innings, and I thought it was a good cricket wicket to bat on in the first innings, and the fact that we didn't get 400 plus on that wicket, especially the way they batted, it was always going to be a massive mountain to climb after that. But obviously not great sitting here. You don't mind losing to a team that's better than you. But I thought this test match, we weren't even close where we needed to be to try and compete. In the first test match, at least there were signs of that. And as I said, with the team that's in its infant stages of rebuilding, you have to be patient with it. But also, when it comes to a performance like that, you do expect better because the standards of the team requires you to be a little bit better. So we let ourselves down, and it's disappointing going down the way that we did. I think you could see that there is still fight. There's still fight from the guys hanging in and trying to compete, but we're not, from a bowling, from a batting, from a fielding point of view, there's lots of questions that needs answers, and players need to put their hands up. It's unfortunately a series in India is tough, but it's a real character test, and it's only you yourself can find that answers for yourself.
Last question.
The one concern, or one question is awareness. What have we gone against England?
Yeah, that's a good question. Me going to 4 was purely I felt it was important for me to step up. The batting failed in the first innings, but obviously, from a starting point of view, we haven't started well. Every single innings we've been in a position where we've been 30 or 40 or 50 for 3. And as I said, it's such a vital component as how you start in the subcontinent. So it was just, trying to find us a better start, try and take responsibility in making sure that I step up to the plate. So possibly moving forward, that is something that for now needs to be considered, for me to bat there, until we feel that there is growth, there's games behind batsmen's names, so that the experience can come back. That's the one part of it. And the second part, sorry, you were asking?
Just in terms of maybe
The headspace, yeah. So that's my learning from the previous series, that as a batter, when you are struggling, it is a difficult place to get out of. And perhaps it is a good opportunity to get some fresh heads into the team, just from a mental point of view. It can be a place where you're like, where's my next run going to come from? Because it feels like, Test cricket in general, but especially in India, that's my experience from going through it last time. Is that maybe the best thing is for a player just to take a breather, and for someone else to come in with a fresh mind and take on the challenge in a once-off test. No, it definitely hurts. As I said, it's a really tough place to play cricket in India. But even with a lot of inexperience in our team, we'd never come here thinking that we're just going to roll over and die. We are a very, very proud cricketing nation. And our performances this test match doesn't do that justice. So I'm hurting, and I'm sure that a lot of the guys in there would be too. But it's also trying to make sure that you focus on trying to achieve this team to get better, even if it means that you do a few things wrong. As I said, there's a lot of young faces in that dressing room. So even in real tough times, make sure you try and find learning where the players can get better. Otherwise, we're not moving forward as a group. Hopefully in a year's time we can sit here and young players would have gone through experiences like this from a character point of view and get stronger, because that's what's required at the highest level, especially in Test cricket. There's no space to hide, and the best players that stay up there for the longest are mentally the toughest. So this is a good character challenge for those guys. Consistency. You can take player by player in their team, the ability to land the ball in the right area for a long period of time, and they do that as a bowling attack together. I find that in the first and the second test, there was periods where we did it with Vernon and KG and a little bit of Keshav sometimes, where there is pressure building and you manage to keep the run rate at a good tempo, at 2.8, 2.9. So you're sort of in the game, but then that pressure just gets released, and then their batting becomes on top, and then it's difficult to stop. The way the Indian players have taken the game to our bowlers. Both test matches now, there's been a session where it's been a blowout session for us. Obviously the last one was a challenge, especially for me as captain, because I didn't want to over bowl our seamers because they've been in the field for so long, and the score is already so big that you want to protect their workloads a little bit. And then Keshav going off the field with his arm, then you're stuck with some part-time spin, and that session really hurt us. But yeah, all in all, India has been much better on us in every department. But if you look at their team and in terms of test caps and experience, and the numbers they have on the board in terms of the averages, it all stacks up, and that's where we need to get at as a team. You know, at the moment, if you look at, you know, from a batting point of view, if you look at purely on the number side of things, it's not good enough. So we need to get there. We need the right guys to make sure, you know, there's a plan for the next 2 years. Obviously, the Test Championship is not now; it's a 2-year thing. So it's just trying to make sure we get the guys that will get there. You know, you will have a batting lineup that all averages 40 plus. If you do that, then consistently you will challenge bowling attacks. But if you up and down and a little bit below where you should be, then you won't challenge the best. Definitely, but those things happen. Same as umpires get decisions wrong. You can't look too deeply into it. Probably with Dean, where he was standing, he didn't see the angle of the ball. So definitely, when there's doubt for me, that's when you ask DRS. So that's a mistake on our part, that we should have referred that. But I mean, there's lots of small things like that. The bottom line is that consistently we are not competing with a strong Indian team. And little 1%ers or 2%ers, even me losing the toss 1,000 times out of 1,000, if you're not consistently putting in the performances, those small things won't even make a difference. No, I think it's just a case of, as I said, it's just purely inexperience. You know, in my time in Test cricket and looking at Test cricket in general, as I said before this Test series, your best Test teams are the teams with the most experience and the most guys that's been through it. One-day cricket and T20 cricket is different, but when it comes to, you know, this Indian team is experienced. There's a lot of experience in that dressing room. There's a lot of Test matches behind their names. So we're at the stage now where we've lost most of our experience. Steyn, Morkel, Amla, De Villiers, all those guys are seasoned campaigners. And now it's a new group of guys who've played 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 15 Test matches. So that will take time. You know, you don't replace those guys overnight. If you take the best players out of any team, they would find the same challenges. For us, it's important really as a senior player group to make sure that we put in performances ourselves. You know, myself, Dean Elgar, Quinton de Kock, you know, we can't expect the other guys. We need to make sure we put in the runs first and then the other guys to chip in with us. So in a time like this, it's important that your big players really take control and make sure that they put in the bulk of the work. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I mean, because we know that winning away is really tough. That's one one way of looking at it. As I said before the series, Test cricket these days has become so in favour of the home team. That's one way that will be really exciting. If you could say, if you go away, you get double the points if you win. That will be a great way of looking at it. And yes, as I said before, to make it more level or more compete is another way to look at it, is to take away the toss completely. I think teams have a better chance of competing if you have that in your favour. Both test matches so far, the first day was really, really good for batting, and the second day as well, but then you fast forward to day 4 and 5, that's when it gets obviously a little bit trickier. The first test, day 5, was the ball really stayed low, and now it started spinning, but nothing extreme. It's just a way of making home and away matches a bit more even. Riyad's knock, yeah, incredible knock. He started really slow. Surprised that he started that slow. Normally he's quite busy and he gets off quite flying quite well. And he was quite patient in the beginning, which was required on that wicket. He left well. And then, sheer mental toughness to bat for that long takes a huge lot of brain power. Even Mayank as well, with his scores that he's putting in big performances. A double 100 followed by 100. That's all in the mind. So there's stuff for us to learn from that. Is making sure that when you are getting in, to put in scores that can actually change the outcome of the match. Myself, for example, a 50 or a 60 is not going to win you the match. So when you do get an opportunity to get in, get 150, get a 200, get a 250, because that influences the match in your favour. So yeah, great knock, well composed. Obviously a very, very good player, and making the biggest thing about him is his hunger for runs, and that's you can see that. So that's something that you can only admire from a distance.